Hey y'all, Lewis Weil at Lewis Weil Company, financial planner, investment advisor. And I just had a really good conversation with a client, and I wanted to kind of bring the lesson that came out of it to everybody while it's fresh on my mind. I don't plan these videos out. It's really like when an idea pops in my head and I have time and I'm at my desk. And that is the thing that came out of it is that what I want people to understand that their dreams are more obtainable than they realize. And what I mean by that, I I'll just give you the background story. So I was talking with a client, and they have some kind of big stuff that they want to do, and I was like, you can totally do this. And they kind of called my bluff a little bit. They're like, every time I see you, you're always like hyping me up and telling me I can do it. Like, or, can I believe you that um, you've never told me no on something I want to do? And they, it was a very good question. If someone can't, or shouldn't do something, I will tell them. I kind of see my job as to support people's dreams. So if they say, I want to buy a house, I want to take a sabbatical, I want to do this, I want to do that, I see myself as being there to support that goal. If it's a bad idea, it would have to be pretty bad for me to just outright say, no, do not do this. But generally, I think of like, how are we going to do this? What will it take to do this? Like, you can do this, but it's going to cost you in this other place in your life. Or, you say you wanted to quit your job, but you also want to, do this other big thing, and you can't do, if you want to do both, you need to stay at your job longer, whatever, that kind of stuff. That's my no is usually like context. But what kind of came out of this conversation was that a lot of things people want to do that feel really unachievable are actually a lot more achievable. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I've just seen people able to do it. And one thing that came up was like, which I didn't realize going into this, is a lot of like middle class working people have horses. So if you've always been a horse girl and you want a horse, if you've been horse guy, horse they, horses are. I've had probably half a dozen people who have a horse. It's like having a dog, and that dog has its own rent. That dog lives, I'm talking about stable fees. People, regular working people, have horses. It's not just very wealthy people. Lots of people who've taken sabbaticals for 6 months to a year or more. People who started clothing lines, opened up retail spaces, opened restaurants, moving abroad is one where people feel like it's so impossible, which I think this is going to be a different video, that is not as big a deal as we think it is. I think Americans over worry about moving abroad because we live in such a large country, but the rest of the world doesn't make such a big deal about going and living in other countries. That if you want to do something, within reason, it's doable. Like if you want to own a private island and have, a private jet and, things that are really only obtainable by the extremely wealthy. Well, I mean, you have to get extremely wealthy to do it if it's that important to you. But a lot of things that you think are out of reach are actually within reach. And this was something I kind of had to learn myself, because my personality, the way I grew up, I always thought you needed to that big things were for other people, that you had to wait to be invited to do it. But now I know, like I've worked with them, like people who are actors, models, chefs, brewers, musicians. No one invited them to it. they decided they wanted to do it and they went for it. So if you have some dream you want to do, and you have the like a little bit of the nature for it and focus. That's the big one. Is like, is it important enough to you that you are okay with the trade-offs that it will take to do it? Like if you want to pursue an acting career, which I have people do. I work with a good number of actors. That you have to be ready for the grind of it. And it might mean leaving a steady, higher paying job and living the actor life while you try to get traction. But that's not even the most out there thing that, I've helped people with. If you can think of it, I've probably helped someone help someone do it, again, within reason. But, that thing that has been bouncing in your head that you've always thought was impossible might not be so impossible. I've had people where, they said, oh, I'm never going to write that book. And that's the first I'm hearing of it. It's like, go write the book. Let's figure out a plan to get you the time to go write your book, or build your dream home, or live in Spain, whatever your thing might be. They're more achievable than you realize. And I just wanted to share that with y'all. Thanks for listening.